Welcome back, agribusiness owners, farm managers, and crop specialists. Today, I am putting on my agricultural consultant hat to walk you through a comprehensive explainer of a very specific, highly potent premium fertilizer spec sheet. We aren't just staring at a list of random numbers today, folks. We are doing a deep dive into a real verified certificate of analysis for a batch of potassium humate. My goal here is simple: to break down this dossier, uncover the true practical value behind these metrics, and show you exactly why a product like this could literally be the difference maker for your crop yields this season. So grab your notepads because we are getting straight into the data. Here is our roadmap for today's breakdown. Section 1, the consultant's recommendation. Section 2, unlocking the core components. Section 3, potassium and high-purity organic matter. And finally, Section 4, physical form and perfect water solubility.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the consultant's recommendation, certified and verified.
Look, when I'm consulting for large-scale agricultural operations, the absolute first thing I look for before recommending any input is proof. Talk is incredibly cheap in the fertilizer business, right? But verified lab data, that is gold. What we are looking at here is the official stamp and authorized signature from Honda Technology. This is not slick marketing material. It's a binding certificate of analysis. As a consultant, seeing the manufacturer actually put their signature on the line like this tells me that this batch strictly conforms to their in-house specs. It establishes immediate trust and gives us the green light to dive into the rest of the data. Let's check out the logistics on this specific production run, batch 2025-0216, manufactured on February 16, 2025, so we're talking about a fresh batch. But check out that quantity, 50,000 kilograms. That is 50 metric tons. This right here proves we are dealing with professional-grade commercial-scale production that can easily supply massive farming operations. And yet, despite that massive scale, they pack it in highly practical 1-kilogram bags, add in a solid 2-year shelf life, and that gives farm managers incredible flexibility. You can store it easily and do precise small batch mixing without constantly worrying about the product degrading on you mid-season. Moving right along to Section 2, unlocking the core components, the acid breakdown. So we know it's verified, and we know it's produced at scale. Now let's put on our biochemist hats and look at the core engines driving this organic fertilizer. Check this out: a humic acid content of 55% or higher and a fulvic acid content of 50% or higher. As your consultant, I really have to emphasize how potent this is. We aren't talking about trace elements here. These are incredibly high minimum concentrations. Humic and fulvic acids are basically the biological workhorses of soil health. They chelate nutrients, meaning they lock onto them and make them instantly available to plant roots, and they drastically improve your soil structure. Seeing guaranteed minimums this high, that's my guarantee of serious product strength. And honestly, right there on the certificate, it clearly states its purpose. Classification: organic fertilizer. Application: agriculture. It's simple, but it's absolutely crucial. This isn't some diluted, off-the-shelf garden product. It is explicitly classified and formulated for serious agricultural application to maximize crop growth. Which brings us to the really exciting stuff in Section 3, potassium and high-purity organic matter, the high-yield components. Listen up, because this is what I consider the most critical part of today's explainer for your bottom line. If you want to know how this actually impacts your harvest, you need to understand the relationship between potassium and high-purity organic matter. I want you to mentally highlight this number, 12%. Whenever I look at a potassium humate product, this number is the absolute cornerstone of its value. That 12% represents the minimum potassium oxide content. Now, as an agricultural consultant, why am I so hyper-focused on this specific potassium metric? Because potassium is a total game changer for crop growth. It is the lifeblood. It's the macronutrient that regulates water within the plant, activates essential enzymes, and builds up proteins and starches. If your crops are facing drought stress, disease pressure, or if you simply want larger, heavier, more robust fruits and grains, potassium is your primary heavy artillery. A guaranteed minimum of 12% means this fertilizer is delivering a highly concentrated, impactful dose of yield-boosting power straight to your crops. But the magic is that it doesn't work alone. Immediately next to that potassium metric on the dossier is this staggering number, 80%. Yep, that 80% is the verified minimum organic matter content. The real genius here is how these metrics interact. You've got this massive 80% organic matter acting like a giant sponge, retaining moisture and rebuilding exhausted soils. You've got that 12% potassium directly fueling the crop development. And to top it off, you have an alkaline pH level of 9 to 10. That high pH is fantastic at neutralizing acidic soils, creating a beautifully balanced environment where the organic matter and potassium can be perfectly absorbed by the root systems. It's just a brilliant dual-action formula. All right, let's bring it all home with Section 4, Physical Form and Perfect Water Solubility, Practical Application. We have this verified, incredibly potent chemical formula, but as any seasoned farmer knows, a great formula means absolutely nothing if it's a nightmare to apply in the field. Thankfully, this fertilizer family comes in 3 distinct forms: powder, granules, and flakes. Different irrigation setups need different formats, right? While our specific batch 2025021 is classified as black flakes, just knowing the manufacturer produces multiple formats means you have the power to tailor the physical product to whatever operational machinery you're running. Let's contrast the form of our batch with its actual usability. On the left, we've got its solid appearance, black flakes. They're dense, easy to transport, and they won't just blow away in the wind during a dry application. But on the right is the ultimate game changer, completely water-soluble. It is a solid flake that dissolves like an absolute dream. This means you can run it straight through your drip lines or foliar sprayers without clogging up your expensive irrigation equipment. It ensures that the 12% potassium and 80% organic matter we just raved about are delivered in a perfect liquid form for immediate, seamless crop absorption. So, we've verified the source, we've unlocked those massive humic and fulvic acid engines, we've highlighted that absolutely critical 12% potassium needed for aggressive crop growth, and we've proven it's completely water-soluble. The data really does speak for itself. So, I'm going to leave you with this question to ponder for your own farming operation. Is batch 22052-160 the organic boost your crops need to break through to your highest yield yet? Take a look at your soil tests, review this data, and make the absolute smartest choice for your harvest. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.